not to stop. We shall never give up.
This love is the fuel.
My brothers and sisters, I come to you today with an urgent message that affects not just Uganda, but the entire African continent and the world at large. The United Nations has spoken. Yes, you heard me correctly. The United Nations has issued a warning to President Museveni concerning the abduction of our brother Bobi Wine. And I, Ibrahim Traoré, I stand here to make sure this message is heard loud and clear across every corner of Africa. My brothers and sisters, when international bodies like the United Nations have to step in and warn an African leader about human rights violations, about the abuse of democratic processes, this is not something we should take lightly. This is a serious matter. This is a matter that shows the world is watching what is happening in Uganda, and they are not happy with what they are seeing. Let me tell you exactly what has transpired. The United Nations, through its Human Rights Council, has issued a stern warning to the Ugandan government. They are demanding the immediate and unconditional release of Bobi Wine. They are saying that his detention is illegal. They are saying that it violates international law. They are saying that it goes against every principle of democracy and human rights that the world has agreed upon. Now, some of you might be wondering, why is the UN getting involved in this matter? Let me explain it to you clearly. When Bobi Wine was taken from his home by military forces, when that helicopter landed in his compound and forcibly removed him to an unknown location, this was not just a violation of Ugandan law. No, my brothers and sisters, this was a violation of international human rights law. This was a violation of the conventions that Uganda itself has signed and agreed to uphold. The UN human rights experts, they have reviewed the situation in Uganda. They have looked at the evidence. They have seen the videos of the helicopter. They have read the testimonies from the NUP members. They have analyzed the reports of how electricity was cut off from Bobi Wine's home, how the security fence was destroyed, how his private guards were brutally assaulted. And after looking at all of this evidence, they have concluded that what happened to Bobi Wine constitutes enforced disappearance, arbitrary detention, and a serious violation of his fundamental human rights. Let me read to you what the UN statement says. The United Nations is deeply concerned about the reported abduction of opposition leader Bobi Wine by military forces in Uganda. We call on the Ugandan authorities to immediately disclose his whereabouts and ensure his safety. The use of military force to detain political opponents is unacceptable in any democratic society. We urge President Museveni to release Bobi Wine immediately and unconditionally, and to respect the will of the Ugandan people as expressed through the ballot box. My brothers and sisters, these are strong words coming from the United Nations. These are not just suggestions, these are demands. The UN is telling Museveni that the world is watching, and what he is doing is not acceptable. But there is more. The UN has also warned that if Bobi Wine is not released immediately, there will be consequences. They are talking about possible sanctions against Uganda. They are talking about referral to the International Criminal Court. They are talking about travel bans and asset freezes for those responsible for this abduction. This is serious business, my brothers and sisters. The UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights Defenders has also spoken out. He said that Bobi Wine, as an opposition leader and a human rights defender, is entitled to special protection under international law. His detention without charge, without access to lawyers, without even his family knowing where he is being held, this is completely unacceptable. The Special Rapporteur has demanded that Museveni's government provide immediate information about Bobi Wine's location and condition. Now I want to talk about why this UN warning is so important. You see, my brothers and sisters, when the international community speaks with one voice like this, it sends a powerful message. It tells dictators and those who abuse power that they cannot hide behind their borders. It tells them that human rights are universal, and that the world will hold them accountable when they violate these rights. The United Nations has made it very clear that what is happening in Uganda is not an internal matter that the world should ignore. No, this is a matter of international concern because it involves fundamental human rights that every person on this earth is entitled to, regardless of which country they live in. The UN has also pointed out something very important. They have noted that Bobi Wine's abduction happened at a very suspicious time. It happened while the Electoral Commission was still counting votes. It happened while Bobi Wine was speaking out about irregularities in the election process. It happened while he was raising concerns about the legitimacy of the results being announced. This timing, the UN says, suggests that Bobi Wine was taken specifically to silence him, to prevent him from challenging the election results, to stop him from mobilizing his supporters. This is what the UN calls a politically motivated detention. And under international law, politically motivated detentions are strictly prohibited. Every country that has signed the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and Uganda is one of them, has agreed not to detain people for their political opinions or activities. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has also weighed in on this matter. He has expressed grave concern about the deteriorating human rights situation in Uganda. He has mentioned that Bobi Wine's abduction is not an isolated incident. There have been reports of at least 10 people killed in post-election violence. There have been reports of security forces using excessive force against peaceful protesters. There have been reports of journalists being harassed and arrested for covering the elections. All of this, the High Commissioner says, points to a systematic pattern of repression by the Ugandan government. And he is warning Museveni that this pattern must stop immediately. He is saying that Uganda has obligations under international law to protect the rights of all its citizens, including those who oppose the government. My brothers and sisters, I want to explain to you what this UN warning means for Africa. You see, when the UN has to warn an African leader about human rights violations, this affects all of us. It reinforces the negative stereotypes that some people in the world have about Africa. It makes people think that we Africans cannot govern ourselves democratically. It makes them think that we need outside intervention to protect our own people. This is why I am so passionate about this issue. This is why I am standing here today to add my voice to the UN's warning. We Africans must show the world that we can uphold democratic principles. We must show that we can respect human rights. We must show that we can have peaceful transfers of power. And when one of our leaders fails to do this, we must speak out loudly and clearly. President Museveni, I am speaking to you directly now. The United Nations has warned you. The international community is watching you. But more importantly, your fellow African leaders are watching you. We are all waiting to see what you will do. Will you heed this warning? Will you release Bobi Wine? Will you respect the democratic process? Or will you continue down this dangerous path? Let me tell you what will happen if you ignore this UN warning. First, Uganda will face international isolation. Countries around the world will start to distance themselves from your government. Diplomatic relations will suffer. Economic partnerships will be affected. Uganda's reputation on the global stage will be damaged, perhaps irreparably. Second, there will be sanctions. The UN Security Council can impose sanctions on Uganda. Individual members of your government can be sanctioned. Assets can be frozen. Travel bans can be imposed. Is this what you want for your country? Is this what you want for your officials? Third, there is the possibility of referral to the International Criminal Court. The ICC has jurisdiction over crimes against humanity, and enforced disappearance is considered such a crime under the Rome Statute. Do you want to risk having ICC arrest warrants issued against you and your officials? But beyond all these international consequences, Mr. President, think about what this means for Uganda itself. Think about the young people of Uganda who are watching this situation unfold. What message are you sending to them? You are telling them that might makes right. You are telling them that democracy is just a game. Or you are telling them that their votes do not matter because the military can simply come and take away the leader they choose. Is this the Uganda you want to leave behind? Is this your legacy? The United Nations has given you a clear pathway out of this crisis. Release Bobi Wine immediately. Allow him to return to his home and his family. Allow him to participate freely in the democratic process. If you believe you have won the election fairly, then you should have no fear of Bobi Wine speaking out. Let him make his case. Let him present his evidence. Let the proper legal and electoral processes handle any disputes. My brothers and sisters, I also want to address the role that we as African leaders must play in this situation. The UN warning is important, yes, but we cannot always rely on international bodies to solve African problems. We must take responsibility ourselves. This is why I am calling on the African Union to take strong action on this matter. The African Union has principles and protocols about democratic governance. We have the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance. This charter clearly states that unconstitutional changes of government are not acceptable. It clearly states that member states must respect human rights and the rule of law. If the military in Uganda is preventing the rightful winner of an election from taking power by keeping Bobi Wine in detention, this is an unconstitutional change of government. The African Union must invoke its protocols. It must send a high-level delegation to Uganda. It must demand access to Bobi Wine to verify his safety and well-being. And if Museveni refuses to cooperate, the AU must be prepared to suspend Uganda's membership. I am also calling on ECOWAS, even though Uganda is not in our region, to speak out on this matter. Human rights violations anywhere in Africa are a concern for all of us. We must show solidarity with the people of Uganda in their struggle for democracy. The UN warning also mentions something very important about the rule of law. They are reminding Museveni that even as president, he is not above the law. The military is not above the law. Everyone must respect the constitution and the legal processes of the country. You cannot just send a helicopter to pick up someone from their home because you do not like what they are saying about election results. If Bobi Wine has committed a crime, then charge him. Take him to court. Let him face a judge. Let him have access to lawyers. Let him defend himself in a fair trial. This is what the rule of law demands. This is what democracy requires. But what we are seeing in Uganda right now is the complete opposite of the rule of law. We are seeing the law of the jungle, where the strong do whatever they want to the weak. The United Nations has also expressed concern about the safety and well-being of Bobi Wine while he is in detention. They are demanding that he be given access to medical care if he needs it. They are demanding that he not be subjected to torture or other forms of ill treatment. They are demanding that his family be allowed to know where he is and to visit him. These demands are based on international standards for the treatment of detainees. Even people who are accused of the most serious crimes have these basic rights. How much more should Bobi Wine have these rights when he has not even been charged with any crime? My brothers and sisters, I know some people will say that I am being too hard on President Museveni. They will say that he has been a leader in Uganda for many years and that he has brought some development to the country. I acknowledge this. I am not saying that Museveni has done nothing good for Uganda, but what I am saying is that whatever good you have done in the past does not give you the right to violate human rights now. It does not give you the right to ignore the will of the people. It does not give you the right to use military force against your political opponents. The United Nations warning is not just about Bobi Wine as an individual. It is about the principles that we as a global community have agreed to uphold. It is about democracy. It is about human rights. It is about the rule of law. These principles are not negotiable. They are not something that we can pick and choose when to apply based on our political interests. President Museveni, you have a choice to make. You can heed the UN warning and release Bobi Wine, thereby showing respect for international law and democratic principles. Or you can ignore the warning and face the consequences that will surely follow. The choice is yours, but I urge you to choose wisely. To the people of Uganda, I want you to know that you are not alone in this struggle. The United Nations stands with you. The international community stands with you. Your fellow Africans stand with you. We see your courage. We admire your determination to fight for democracy and freedom. Do not give up. Continue to demand your rights peacefully. Continue to speak the truth. Justice will prevail. To Bobi Wine, wherever you are being held right now, I want you to know that the world has not forgotten you. Your voice has been heard. Your message has reached across borders. The United Nations, the most powerful international body in the world, is demanding your release. Stay strong, my brother. We are fighting for you. My brothers and sisters, this situation in Uganda is a test for all of us. It is a test of whether we truly believe in the principles we claim to uphold. It is a test of whether we are willing to stand up for what is right, even when it is difficult. It is a test of whether we can build the Africa we dream of, an Africa of democracy, peace, and prosperity. Let us pass this test. Let us stand united in demanding that President Museveni heed the UN warning and release Bobi Wine immediately. Let us show the world that Africa is capable of policing itself, of holding its leaders accountable, of upholding democratic principles. The time for action is now. The United Nations has spoken. Now we must all add our voices to theirs. We must make sure that this warning is not ignored. We must ensure that Bobi Wine is released and that democracy is restored in Uganda. Thank you, my brothers and sisters, for listening. May God bless Uganda. May God bless Africa. And may justice prevail.